What's up guys, welcome back to Inter Talks episode 6, brought to you by SempreInter.com and Inter destroying clubs since 1908. This episode is going to be a bit of a UEFA Champions League special because yes, we're back in the Champions League. Champions! Shout out to Anthony again, who did the review for our first win of the season against Bologna. So if you haven't checked out that video, check it out in the description below. Inter have been away from the Champions League for so many years now. It feels like an eternity if you're an Inter fan. Last time we were in the Champions League was 2012. That was the year I started university and I didn't even have a beard, and now I have a beard. Well, sort of. So let's get straight into this Champions League special and look ahead to the group that awaits us in the Champions League. And boy oh boy, it's a very tough group. So Inter have been allocated into Group B with Barcelona, Spurs and PSV Eindhoven. I've seen a lot of mixed reactions on social media from Inter fans regarding this group. Many Inter fans happy that we're playing big teams like Barcelona and Spurs straight away, whereas other fans are disappointed that it looks like it's going to be a very tough group for us to even get out of this group, make it to the knockout stages. Personally, I'm part of the first group of Inter fans who are happy with the draw. I want to see Inter play against the best of the best. I want to see us matched up against the best team to see what our level actually is. So for me, Barcelona, Spurs, bring it on. So I'm just going to go ahead and preview sort of each team that we have in the group and weigh up the pros and cons of playing against them. So let's look ahead to our first opponents, who will be Tottenham, or otherwise known as Chokers FC if you're an Arsenal fan or a Leicester City fan. We'll be playing them at San Siro on the 18th of September, Tuesday 18th of September. Tottenham are actually the team I kind of feared the most in this group, even ahead of Barcelona, and I'm gonna tell you why. Last season, they had a very difficult group in the Champions League group stages. They had the winners, Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. So many people actually tipped them not to even make it past the group stages. But in the end, they ended up winning the group, beating Real Madrid and Dortmund in very impressive fashion. And in the knockout stages, they were actually knocked out just narrowly by Juventus on a 4-3 aggregate score. They were actually ahead in the tie at one point until Allegri switched up the formation and managed to win the game in the second half at Wembley Stadium. Yeah, Chokers FC. But still, they have a very young and exciting team that actually has a lot of European experience already. They've been in the Champions League for the past few years, so their players have much more Champions League experience than ours for sure. And another reason why I fear Tottenham is the fact they've been together for a very long time. It's pretty much the same team. For the last 2 or 3 years, has been the exact same team with very small changes in between. Very similar to Napoli, who have pretty much the same spine, has been there for the last 3 or 4 years. Also, their coach Mauricio Pochettino is one of the most exciting young coaches in European football. He's brought a lot of energy and ideas to Tottenham. They play some great football, counter-attacking, high-pressing football. Which Inter struggle against to play a lot of times. Our defence is not the most comfortable on the ball. So a high-pressing, energetic team like Tottenham could cause us a lot of problems. Another positive for them is the fact that Toby Alderweireld is back in their team on a full-time basis. Last season he was sort of left out of the team due to some contract issues, but this year he's back in. And as many Premier League fans will know, he is definitely one of the top centre-backs in the Premier League, if not the best centre-back in the Premier League, and one of the top centre-backs in European football. And his partnership with his Belgian teammate, Jan Vertonghen, is a very solid one. But as I said, they're a team that knows each other really well, and they're well drilled by Pochettino, so they're a very formidable opponent, which we shouldn't underestimate because of their proneness to choke. Because in the group stages they perform well because the pressure is usually not on them. In the latter stages of the season, where they start to crumble at the wrong moments, Harry Kane and co have been criticising for not having that winning mentality to take things right to the end. The summer transfer market has been very quiet for Tottenham. They actually signed 0 players, which is probably a negative, as it would be good for Harry Kane and Eriksen and Ali and Son to be challenged by other players in the team. But it can be seen as a positive as well. As I said, it means that the team is completely unchanged. There's no new players to bed in. The team already knows exactly what they're doing. And some of their most important players actually signed new contracts, such as Son Heung-min and Harry Kane. They've also started the season really well in the Premier League, apart from the defeat to Watford. They beat Man United 3-0 away. Lucas Moura seems to be finally settling into the team. But of course, they also have some weaknesses in the team. The main one, as I touched on, is their sort of mentality, the lack of winning mentality, their proneness to choke at important times of the season, as they often seem to do. Their defending is also not the best, even in their win against Manchester United, the 3-0 win. I don't even know how that finished as 3-0. I don't know how they got the clean sheet. Man United had so many chances which they didn't take. And even if you look back at the game against Juventus last year, they were ahead and they just weren't able to close out the match, which is very Tottenham-like. They're not really able to close out matches and defend as a team and stay compact. So I think in both matches, away and at home for Inter, there will be goals either way. They're definitely not a boring team to play against Tottenham. They leave a lot of spaces which Inter can definitely exploit. And the fact that they made no transfers, no incoming transfers, has left the squad a little bit short. If Harry Kane gets injured or Christian Eriksen gets injured, they don't really have a replacement for them. So if they get any injuries, they're in big trouble. So overall, even though they are the team that I fear the most because of their style of football, they're definitely beatable. Inter players definitely should not be scared to play against this Tottenham team. They will give you chances, and especially at the San Siro, it will be our first match at San Siro after 6 years. The place will be rocking. The pressure will be on Tottenham. The crowd will be behind our boys, and if we get an early goal, I can see this going Inter's way. So let's move on to the favourites to win the group, FC Barcelona, or FC Robbers as they're known now. These guys are starting to rob more than Juventus now. First they rob Arturo Vidal of Inter, and then they rob Malcolm of Roma. What's going on there? But anyway, they are the favourites to win the group. Last season they won La Liga easily. They walked away with La Liga with 93 points, and Barcelona fans still think they had a bad season because they didn't make it to the Champions League final. They definitely have a point to prove, seeing Real Madrid, their arch nemesis, winning the Champions League every year now. Must be killing them. So they will be coming into this Champions League season with a vengeance. I'm really looking forward to this game because I feel like this current Inter team perform really well when they're the underdogs. As we've seen recently, last season when we won against Roma at their stadium 3-1, in the Milan derbies, or even against Juventus, the last match we had with them, even though we lost 3-2, it was one of our best performances from last season. And in the Champions League last season, they had a bit of a patchy away form, drawing away to Chelsea, Juventus, and losing away to Roma. So I think getting some points at San Siro will be possible against them. And under Ernesto Valverde, who is a very pragmatic coach, has brought in a pragmatic style of football to Barcelona, which Barcelona fans are not too fond of, especially spending years watching the team under Guardiola and Luis Enrique's very exciting football. They don't seem to, waltz past team as easily as they used to in the past. And, their main attacking central threat, Luis Suarez, is not, in his peak anymore. He has been on a decline. But of course, as we know, they have so many options in the team. They had a very strong summer transfer market, stealing players. But even so, adding Arturo Vidal to the team as a direct replacement to Paulinho is definitely an upgrade to the team. I mean, I'm not too salty about losing out Arturo Vidal. I already felt if we signed him, he would have been too similar to Radja Nainggolan. They're two very, very similar players, appearance-wise and style-wise. They both like to make those late runs into the box, and I'm not really sure where Spalletti would have fit them into the team, because I don't think either their best position is in a deeper position. But yeah, as I said, Barcelona's squad is looking very strong this season. Felipe Coutinho is available for the squad now. Last season when they signed him from Liverpool, he wasn't available. He was cup tied, but this year he's available, and he's had those 6-7 months to bed into the team and get used to his teammates. So he's going to be a big threat. They've also added centre back Longley. He's supposed to be one of the best younger centre back prospects in La Liga. And of course, the tricky winger, Brazilian winger Malcolm, who we were supposedly very close to signing as well. He had a good pre-season with the team. He even scored against the team he was supposed to be signing for, Roma. And of course, up front they got the GOAT, Leo Messi. Nothing I need to say about him. Best player in the world. But as I said, I don't fear them too much. I feel like Inter do well in these matches where they have to sort of let the opposition have the ball. And it'll be nice to see Inter return to the Camp Nou. Last time in my memory, Inter were there. We got to the Champions League final, and they put on the fountains when Mourinho was there celebrating. So that will bring back some good memories, and hopefully we'll make some new good memories out. And let's move on to the final team in the group, PSV Eindhoven, who everyone has down as the team to finish last. But as you know, in the Champions League, you should never underestimate your opponents, especially if they are the champions of the Eredivisie in Holland. I admit I don't really follow Dutch football at the moment, so I don't really know much about the team. I know that they've got a new manager in Mark van Bommel, the former Holland midfielder, who I never really liked. Actually, he was a bit of a dick, even before he played for Milan. But yeah, they are Dutch champions, and they got through the group stages by beating Bate Borisov in the playoffs. And they've had a really good start to the season with 4 wins out of 4 in the Dutch league. And they have a team of young and talented players like Luc de Jong and Herving Chucky Lozano, who we saw at the World Cup ripping it up. He's a dangerous player, especially on the counter-attack. So I wouldn't underestimate PSV. But yeah, of course, we should be beating teams like PSV Eindhoven. Beating them is our key to progressing, if we have any chance of progressing, especially home and away. We have to beat them home and away. Those 6 points will be vital. Goal difference is also very important in the Champions League. You only need to think back to Napoli last season, who underestimated Feyenoord in their group, and they got defeated by Feyenoord away. That completely killed the chances of progressing through the group stage. So definitely should never underestimate these lesser teams, because they will be hungry to get any type of results. The key will definitely be the home matches. We have to turn the Giuseppe Meazza into a fortress where teams are fearful of coming. The crowd creates an atmosphere that's difficult for the opponents to play in. We definitely need to try to be unbeaten at home. And in our first match against Spurs, we definitely need to go for the win to kickstart this campaign in the best way possible and make a statement to Europe that we're back. Another topic I want to talk about regarding Inter's Champions League campaign is the squad that was announced last week by Spalletti for our Champions League campaign. Not many surprises in there apart from the big news. With the omission of Roberto Gagliardini. The omission of Gagliardini has split into fans. Spalletti clearly seems to prefer Vecino over Gagliardini. And it was a 50-50 in between those two, I think. Inter's hands were tied. We had those agreements in place with UEFA already. We can only call up 22 players. and in that squad of 22 players, the total value of that squad cannot exceed our income. So there had to be a sacrifice made in there, and that sacrifice was Roberto Gagliardini. But I would really like to know your views, viewers, on this decision from Spalletti. Should Gagliardini be in the squad? Who should he be in the squad over? Personally, I think Gagliardini's partnership with Brozovic last season, in the second half of last season, was the sort of best centre-mid partnership we had. His physicality combined with Brozovic's passing range and technique seemed to work best for us. But Spalletti is clearly preferring Vecino in the start of this season. But you also have to keep in mind that Gagliardini, with this type of physique, he is a bit of a tank. He takes a bit longer to get into peak condition than someone like Vecino. But yeah, apart from that, there wasn't any big team news that shocked anyone. Joao Mario obviously wasn't part of the squad. Mr. 40 million, Mr. Joao Mozzarella, as I like to call him. And of course Dalbert missed out. I think he could have been part of the squad if he impressed in this start of the season, but again, he looks so devoid of confidence. It looks like a shadow of the player that he was at Nice. And the 20 million or whatever he cost, we couldn't really justify putting him into the squad. Another note that I found slightly negative, I don't know if you guys noticed, was the list of the youth players that we included in the Champions League squad. The 6 players were Dekic, Roric, Nolan, Gavioli, Zappa and Corrado. None of those young players really stand out. I haven't really heard much of them. I might be mistaken. But in the past, we've had a few exciting prospects in the teams, such as Pinamonti and Bonazzoli. And recently we had the Jean Emmers, who's gone out on loan. So I haven't really seen much of these young players. But it would be good to have sort of a wild card in there. Now that Karamo has been loaned out, it would have been a good opportunity for a young youth prospect from our Primavera to get some minutes in the team, perhaps, or be part of the squad. But anyway, that's not a big note of negativity, just a little something I noticed. But yeah, that was it from me, guys. That was my sort of Champions League special preview. I'm really looking forward to our first match on the 18th against Tottenham. Google gives us a 36% chance of winning against Tottenham's 35% chance. So you can see already we're considered a respectable team already. We're past that banter era. We're out of that banter era. And I can't wait to hear that Champions League music, just feed it into my veins. Please comment below. What do you think of the group? Who do you think is the team that you fear the most to play against? And of course, let me know what you think of the squad, Gagliardini or Vecino. And please provide us feedback as always. So proud that we already have over 330 subscribers. Keep subscribing and liking the videos. Looking forward to Anthony's next video.